So bidirectional RNNs. So what we have seen, the RNNs so far, they are the directions of arrows was in only one direction, right? So for example, if we had here xi1, xi2, xi3, xi4, xi5, and then this xi1 was producing, let's say, yi1, yi2, yi3, yi4, yi5, right? Now the point to note here is this output here was mainly dependent on this xi3, right? Or it was dependent on the previous inputs like xi1 and xi2, maybe partially, or some amount of input xi1 or xi2 was getting transmitted into yi3. So it might happen in real time application that this yi3 may not only depend on this xi3, xi2, or xi1. It may also depend on future inputs like xi5. So that problem cannot be handled in case of unidirectional RNN, which we have seen so far. So the problem here I'm telling is this yi3 may sometime depend on future inputs like xi5 or xi4, right? So this cannot be taken care of by using the RNNs which we have seen, like these kind of RNNs we have seen, right? So because you know, so here, so this yi3 was or can get input only as xi1, xi2, or xi3, right? So it can, if it is dependent on xi4, then there is no provision here that we can give xi4 as input to this unit, and yi3 can be computed from xi4, right? So this was the problem with unidirectional RNN. So there are some applications in natural language processing which requires bidirectional RNN, or maybe other applications also. So what are bidirectional RNNs? Let's see, right? So now if I draw the diagram of bidirectional RNN, it looks like this. This is our simple this is the unidirectional RNN I'm drawing. This is simple unidirectional RNN, right? Right. So here I am giving xi1 as input, xi2, xi3, xi4, right? And then let me give another color here. So this is the input. This was output of this step, and it is going as input here. This output is going as input here. This output is going as input here, right? So that we have seen, right? And this is the zeros coming here, vector of zeros, right? Now, and these are the, let me use again another color here. These are these are the outputs, right? These are the outputs, right? So this is very similar to what we have seen so far, recurrent units. Now I'm going to draw another set of units here. So let me draw it here. So if I can draw, yeah. So now, so these units are very similar to these units. So again, if I take the output from here like this, maybe it's different color here. Also here, maybe this color. or let me use the same color as the boxes just to avoid the confusion, right? So right, and now this will flow in the backward direction, right, like this. So if I, yeah, like this, this is okay, and here we are getting input as zeros, right? Now you see, and again the input to this are, I'm giving this xi4 as input to this here, xi3 as input to this unit, xi2 as input to this unit, and xi1 as input to this unit, right? So now you see these arrows are in the backward direction. Now let's talk about the output here, right? So again, if I use the different color here, what I'm doing here is I'm concatenating these two here, concatenation operation, and then I'm getting this yi1 hat, right? And again I'm concatenating these two, and I'm getting this yi2 hat. Again I'm concatenating these two, and I'm getting this yi3 hat. Concatenate these two, we'll get this yi4 hat. Now if you see this yi3, what are the inputs to this yi3? yi3 is getting xi1, xi2, and xi3 from this side, right? It is getting xi1 here. If you follow the directions of arrow here, xi3, xi1 is coming here, xi2, because xi1 is getting transmitted here, xi2 is also getting transmitted here. So yi3 is getting xi1, xi2, as well as, from this side it is also getting this xi4, right? xi4. So because this xi4 is going to this unit, and the output of this unit is getting transmitted here, and then the xi4 is getting transmitted from here, right? So that means yi3 is getting all of these, right? So that means if some output is dependent on future inputs, that future inputs can be fed as input, right? So by using bidirectional RNNs. So there are many uses of this bidirectional RNNs in natural language processing and some other applications. So I hope this diagram is clear. Slightly complicated diagram, but you just see, these, draw a simple RNN, and then just draw stack another layer, right, in the reverse direction.